What's going on? Welcome back to Trending Stocks. Today is February the 3rd. I want to give you a quick pre-market update, go over some of the hot movers and what big money is doing on this fun Monday morning. So I want to go over all the things that you need to know, but first make sure to hit that thumbs up, and with that, let's get right to it. So starting off, as far as data, you do have manufacturing at 9 a.m. 49.8 is that forecast. So essentially though, if it does come in very positive, similar to the data that came out of China, I think their forecast was like 48, came in at 50. If that happens this time around for the States, you'll see a very nice push higher, because anything above 50 shows more of an expansion within the market. Flip side, anything below 50 shows more of a contraction, but manufacturing has been improving significantly since the lows, I think it was in August, of 46. So definitely stay tuned for that. Futures right now are down. So Dow is down 1.25, S&P down 1.48, and then NASDAQ, it is down 1.64. So I know it is negative, but I feel like it's not as negative as a lot of people were really portraying it as, like a 15% down day. So yeah, I think all in all, like the whole tariff scenario is not good, but at the same time, I think it is, in my opinion, just going to blow over. I think the market's somewhat feeling the same based on this, but as you can see, based on the futures, it's going to be a volatile day. So definitely stay tuned and prepare. As far as this goes, fear and greed index is kind of still broken. So hopefully they do fix that algorithm sooner rather than later. Starting off though with Sofi, it is down right now, but they did put out news just a second ago. Sofi to participate in upcoming investor conference, and in here it looks like it is going to be held on February the 11th by the head honcho himself, so Anthony Noto. So that should be fairly good. So kind of stay tuned for that. Shorts are returning 111,000 shares pre-market, and that's somewhat abnormal for Sofi to have activity pre-market. So they're returning, definitely a good thing. 12.38% of the free float is being shorted. Works out to be 133.32 million shares. I feel like shorts have the opportunity to really hit Sofi hard today, but at the same time, I don't think it's justified. So same as what's happening pre-market, I do feel that they will kind of ease off a little bit today. And even prior, like 2 weeks prior, they haven't really been doing all that much. So kind of just stay tuned for that. With it at 1502, it is trading between these 2 points. So this pivot and this S1, 1473, and then 1411 is going to be the following support levels. It did actually hit a low of, I believe it was like $13.99. That was during overnight trading. So kind of a massive overreaction. And then flip side, 1572. I don't see us turning green whatsoever today, but it's kind of interesting. So just kind of watch for the market to really play around with Sofi as what it usually does. I think at the same time, what might happen is wait for the market to open. People will be buying puts, and then that way they'll be free to kind of unleash Armageddon. That's again what sometimes the market likes to do. But yeah, interesting stuff. The fact that it did hit $14 pre-market. And on a side note, I do have some people I saw some posts on social media saying, why is Sofi down overnight? Like, it's not associated to the tariffs, not linked to Canada. Like Canadians can't even have Sofi. But in general, tariffs affect consumers' buying power. Consumers' buying power directly is correlated with Sofi and much of the greater market. So that is why essentially even when like states tacked China with that 10% tariff, like a lot of EVs and a lot of other stocks across the board went down. Not because NIO, for instance, ships their vehicles to the States, because they don't, but it is just the consumer buying power. That's what does get affected. So again, just wanted to give some context. Moving on, ticker REBN. So news did come out January the 23rd. That's the last one. So a lot of speculation since then about them expanding across the US, and ultimately it's up 94.55%. This stock has been an absolute beast. Roughly 2 weeks ago, or like a week ago, when it was at like $1.50, I did have this as my number one squeeze stock. Even though it's gone up a lot, shorts haven't really squeezed, if that makes sense. So 19.79% of the free float is being shorted. Works out to be 409,000 shares overall are being shorted. So they've been somewhat maintaining their position. So kind of interesting to see, despite the price action. they are still kind of holding strong. So yeah, this one could be one that the market does focus on for dollar value and possibly push it really, really high, and maybe prompting a squeeze. We'll have to wait and see. Squeezes are very hard to predict. You kind of have to have like all the dominoes lined up perfectly in order for that to really move higher. So again, this one definitely should get a lot of volume today. As far as support and resistance points, it's gone up so fast, it's above absolutely everything, so I'm not going to really bring that up. But Lucid, even though Lucid hasn't had any news, it is getting a abnormal amount of volume today, which is kind of interesting, down 2.9%. As far as shorts, they are increasing this morning, 590,000 shares. So, of course, in case you don't know, shorts increasing does actually add selling pressure. So maybe shorts are the primary culprit on why it is down like 2.9%, but 23.42% of the free float's being shorted. Works out to be 279 million shares overall are being shorted. With it at 268, it is trading between this pivot and this S1. So right now it's actually sitting exactly on that 50-day moving average for the most part. I believe it's at 269 or something like that. But yeah, so I think Lucid is, their technicals are stuck in limbo, so just kind of watch for that. Aside from that, looking at 231 being the next strong support based on the fib levels, and then 287 going to be the next strong target / resistance. And similarly, I don't see that being touched today unless they do put out something of substance themselves. So let me know your viewpoint. Nvidia down 4.04 during overnight trading. I think it was down at its peak like 7.9 or 8%. So this one should be a very volatile one. Lucky to those individuals that did buy that during overnight trading, but no actual news, nothing like that. Moving here, shorts are returning 154,000 shares. 1.21% of the free float is being shorted. Works out to be 285.12 million shares overall being shorted. Just bringing this up, obviously Nvidia isn't a squeeze play, so just be aware of that. With it at 1570-ish this morning, it is right below pretty much the S3 on the fib levels. So 115.77 is going to be the next strong target / resistance, and then 108 is going to be the next strong support. So let me know your viewpoint on that. Do you think it can kind of crawl its way back up and stay here? Most likely it'll just trade between this S2 and this S3, so I do feel that it will close above that, but again, anything is possible with this market. And then in case you do not know, cryptocurrency did have quite the tumble over the last little bit. It is recovering a lot, but generally still Bitcoin is below 100,000 now over the last 24 hours, down 3.49. So as a byproduct, a lot of the miners are down. So Mara is sitting at 16 and change right now, down 7.42. I'm not really sure what the overnight trading for this was, so I could anticipate probably double that in reality, because this stock is very volatile. But shorts are returning 1.12 million shares, so that does legitimately show that big money is selling this stock. And so in case, again, you don't know, shorts returning, that does mean that they are physically buying, like adding buying pressure. So again, something to kind of consider. 23.61% of the free float's being shorted. Works out to be 79.69 million shares overall are being shorted. And ultimately with that 16 and change, it is trading between this pivot and this S1. So 1613 is going to be the next strong support, followed by 1343. So just watch for that S1. Flip side, 2049 will be that next strong target / resistance. So I don't see that being touched. So in reality, just watch for this S1 to hold throughout the day. So let me know your viewpoint. Don't forget to hit that thumbs up and subscribe. I always greatly appreciate that. One final thing, pop over to my Patreon where I give buy signals on stocks, options, and crypto. Many of them have been absolutely on point and bangers, so definitely pop over there and take a look. With all that, appreciate all of you watching.